I found out when they kept saying he'd had the lessons, I thought he had all of them. Found out he never made it past the third one. And it was because all the missionaries before him had kept on, they got into an argument with him. On the third lesson, there were some principles that they were teaching him, and he would argue against them, and they would argue back with him and try and explain how he was wrong. So I found that out. It never actually got through all the lessons. And we were in the third lesson, and he started to get combative. And I was like, okay. I was like, I can understand this is much more sensitive to you than I didn't know. It's like I didn't know you had such a strong opinion, so much passion for, I think it was actually on the priesthood and his past experiences in other churches, things like that. So I was just like, I get it. And I'm not here to say that, you're incorrect and that your upbringing and all this stuff is wrong. I don't want to say any of that stuff. So how about this? Let's just move on to the next lesson. And he was like, okay, fine. So what's the next lesson? Number 4, lesson number 4. Well, you know what it is, right? It's eternal marriage, right? It's the family and eternal marriage. But it was eternal marriage, and he had never actually heard the principles of eternal marriage from a missionary. And so and he's a big burly guy, right? Tom has got a beard. He's big. He could be like a weightlifter, and he's like a lumberjack. He's a lumberjack, and he just sits over in the corner like this. It cracks me up, like thinking back on it. But he, in that fourth discussion, we were talking about the eternal marriage being sealed, and he asked a couple of questions, and he was all like, "Wait, so married forever, sealed forever?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I assumed he'd heard all this, right? I assumed that he knew these things. He had all the other missionaries from the past, right? And he started tearing up, and he's like, "That's the most that's the most sincere thing that He's like, I've never heard that before. He's like, I did not know. I didn't know that was part of the church. I didn't know that being sealed was part of this. Like, I didn't know." And he started tearing up. That's the only time I ever saw him cry. Probably the only time anyone ever saw him cry. But he started tearing up, and it was at that point that he actually took all of this seriously. And months and months went by. He didn't get baptized right away. It was definitely an iceberg that had to be melted. And he finally ended up getting baptized. It took him. I think he got baptized the last couple of weeks. I was in that area. You were there. You stayed, so you got to see him continue on in the church and be part of the actual ward. Yeah, that one got me because it's like somebody who literally told me, "I'll let you off easy here. I'm not gonna care about what you have to say." But you never give up, right? Everyone even told me that it would just be like a quote unquote just practice talking to him because he's not going to do anything. And it's just like what you said earlier. But you never know. You never know the heart. You never know when it's going to be the time for them to hear the Spirit. They're never, you don't know when that is. It's not your call, right? To decide when someone else is ready for the gospel. That's not my decision. It's not the family's decision.